Right. What is going on, people? What's going on, bro? What are you telling me? Talk to me. I just came from the gym. Got my 5 liter water bottle here.
Yeah, I'm here, man. It's morning, as per usual. Got a cup of tea.
Of course, I
And
can
yeah, ready. You know what I mean? Ready for the day. Starting off the day right. Start early and start it right. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of like interesting things that have happened, but we can start off with the Olympics a little bit. Firstly, do you not think the Olympics, even though now most like in this country at least, we're out of lockdown now, do you think the Olympics should have carried on kind of thing? I know the Euros went through obviously, but do you think that all of these sporting events should still be happening right now?
with COVID and everything. Boy, it's tricky because obviously you have people saying, or you have people saying the thing is on the rise or whatnot, and then you have all these things happening. You have Euros happening. You have everyone coming together and that, and before you know it, back on lockdown again. So what is what's to be honest, yeah, I think everybody should just live their life. That's what I think. It should happen. It should go on. Everybody should enjoy it because there's no point being afraid of, whatever is going on or wherever it's happening. I get it. It's kind of dangerous. It is dangerous, but so is so are other things. Other things are dangerous. There are other things out there that are dangerous as well. So personally, I think it should go on. Anyways, I think it should go on. We shouldn't put our life on hold for one thing just because we're not sure about it. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Especially with the Tokyo Olympics, because they didn't allow any fans over in Japan. So I think it's all right in that aspect because it's like a closed environment. Yeah. The Euros was a bit different because people were allowed to join venues as long as I think either you've been vaccinated or you had a negative test. Yeah. Like most people now say that we're gonna have to live with COVID anyway, so better to get started now than wait, in my opinion.
Exactly, better to get started now than just sit at home doing nothing. At the end of the day, life must go on, innit?
Yeah.
Life must go on. Because I'm sure whoever is going to be at the Olympics, yeah, they've all been tested, So if they're saying it's safe. I just don't want to hear any higgy haga. I'm honest. I don't want to hear any higgy haga like, the COVID thing is right because of the Olympics. Well, fuck it. You guys are the one who
yeah. Is there even a country with like no COVID cases in the world? Is there a country like that?
I think Australia and New Zealand at one point recorded like a significant amount of time without any cases.
That's the effect of everyone. Literally, no one's going in or coming out.
Yeah, so I remember, I don't know exactly when, but I remember there was a point in time where they did, they basically, I think they even started going outside and doing things like they were allowed outside without not face masks, but allowed outside way before everyone else was. So it was a bit of a different thing. So,
you see, this is the weird thing, yeah. So they were able to battle COVID without any vaccines. So now when the whole world is getting vaccinated and they are allowed out, and they're trying to travel, what's going to happen? Are they going to be forced to vaccinate? And then they'll be like, but our country doesn't have COVID. Why do we need to vaccinate? Like, I don't get it.
I think they have got vaccines in Australia though, no?
Okay.
I think they've got a program, I think they do. But I think like there's no right or wrong answer, like in a sense that I think Australia being where it is in the world, I think people do travel to Australia. I'm not saying no one travels to Australia, but I think because Australia's land mass is located sort of ocean-based and there's the part of the world that it's located in, there's not as much immigration to there. versus, let's say, for example, England, which is you got Europeans traveling in between. You've got just so many land masses that can kind of interact with the UK. Whereas Australia, for the most part, most countries are a good distance, fair distance away from Australia. So it's a reasonably long haul flight. Um, I think, whereas England, you can be on the Eurostar to France, you know what I mean, or Brussels or whatever within a few hours. So I think, not saying that there's no landmasses near Australia, I just think because of those kind of things, it does make it a little bit different. Plus, their immigration's always been pretty tough, even before all of this, right? So they just don't really let people in like that, and they had very strict, they even became even stricter, which is like they're one of the strictest immigration policies. And then once this whole thing came out, they were were able to even reinforce that and make it even tougher. So if it's coming from me, I think, if I'm going to be honest, I think one of the key things that happened with them is that they already were in position to kind of combat it better. Whereas the UK, I'm not saying we've got a relaxed immigration system, but I think where here it's like, is the criteria isn't as tough, you know. So that's just my personal viewpoint from outside looking in. I can't really talk too much because I'm not like an expert in Australian policy, but like no, but like I do feel like that's probably one of the key things I did notice, because they seem to be coping and dealing with it better. And I do have one of my close friends has someone who lives out in New Zealand, for example, and sort of what they were saying versus what we are going through, it does feel like we are sort of dealt with it differently. And also in those two countries, they seem to have dealt with it maybe, I don't want to say better, because I don't necessarily think that's necessarily the right term. I think maybe they've minimized the impacts by being a little bit more tougher and stricter, you know. I think that's probably the key thing, is very strict policy versus here, where it's been a bit, even at the start, our government's messaging has kind of been, I don't want to say misleading, but has been very sort of jovial at times, and has been kind of like even at the start of like, COVID cases raising so aggressively for the first lockdown, it was kind of like, oh, maybe we'll lock down, maybe we won't. It was like really like, it was very higa haga, I'll be honest. Like, it wasn't very like firm and like, yeah, this is what we're doing, this is the action plan. At the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that we've gone through many pandemics recently. Pandemics happen every 100 years or whatever, and this is the first time in however long, or so I think we just end up in this weird place where the government just didn't know what to do, essentially. And I don't blame them necessarily, but again, unfortunately, it's led to, I think, the cases being up and down and yo-yoing, which is not good. But on the flip side, onto more positive news. Obviously, the Olympics are happening, right? So we discussed whether we feel like it should or shouldn't happen. But my question now to you guys is, how, with all these sporting events happening, how do you guys feel about it? Do you guys feel positive towards it, in a sense that it kind of alleviates the mind, it gives you something to watch, it gives you something to sort of distract yourselves from what's been happening, but also kind of gives you an element of normalcy?
Do you know what? Yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I knew the Olympics were happening this year, but I didn't even know it started. Like, was it last Friday it started or something?
Something like that.
I had no clue, like, until Monday, that like, it's actually started. So it's nice to have a sporting event. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been watching it. So yes, I tried to catch up with a few things like the swimming and I think the BMX, biking, athletics are back. But yeah, I haven't been watching it like religiously. Maybe because of the time zone difference. But yeah, I usually just try to catch up.
No, I definitely agree. I wanted to ask probably all of you. Um, so I just wanted to ask all of you where you see sort of the end goal would be, in terms of not just sporting events, but generally where do you see us being in the next 12 months? Do you see us going back into not just lockdown, I'm talking more sporting events here? Do you see everything opening up? Because I'm hearing about the Premier League games are going to be a little bit more sort of crowd friendly, or do you see us going back to that point where we don't have people at games again?
No, I don't think we'll go back to lockdown, you know.
No, it's not going to happen. It's 100% not going to happen because everyone's sick and tired of it. We had almost 2 years, almost a bit of lockdown. If it comes again as, oh, we have to go back into lockdown, no one is going to accept it. No one is going to accept it, for one. And two, I feel like although maybe some people might not be feeling the progress, there is some progress in terms of, everyone's handling it properly. It's like everyone's adapting now, kind of thing. Because when it first started, the saying that goes, the saying that goes, oh, what's the saying that goes again? What you don't know, what you don't. Basically, we're more scared of what we don't know. Now everybody knows it's like basically just another flu. And so everyone's just like, the time we're humans, God did not put us on this earth to die from a pandemic. We'll adapt, we'll evolve and adapt, kind of thing. And that's I feel that's what's going to happen. And over the coming 12 months, I don't think it's going to be a case of we're going to take another step back again, because no one is going to accept that. Like, the government should not be there, or health system isn't there. People don't forward in the next 12 months. That's where my head is at, anyways. That's what I'm hoping, and that's what I want to manifest.
Yeah, I agree. But you see, they're trying to I wouldn't say force here, but it's the way the rules are being set up is trying to force people to get vaccinated. Like, some people have made the choice to get vaccinated already, some people haven't. But like, it's looking like they want everyone to get vaccinated. And I'm not gonna say whether I'm for or against it or whatever, but I find that interesting. What do you guys think? Like, do you think everyone should get it done and dusted, or like, is it wrong to want everyone to be vaccinated?
I think it's so. The thing is, really and truly, we're living in like an actual live science experiment, right? In the sense that they're still gathering data, they're still working it out, they're still getting to gist with whether or not, how can I put it? We will be, we're gonna be they don't even know what the long-term impact is of all this, of all of this. And what I mean by that is we don't have enough science behind it and years behind it to know exactly what's coming next. Do you know what I mean? It's an anomaly. What we do know currently is it is helping, because less people are ending up in hospital and blah, and just some of the data that they're saying. But I don't really want to speculate too much on whether or not there is going to be an overall benefit. I think the real problem that we've got right now is, like you said, which is if someone does want to get vaccinated, I don't think they're going to have much space to exercise their free will on it, because a lot of places are going to end up in this sort of, oh, if you're not vaccinated, you either can't come in, or you have to have a COVID test prior to it, or, I mean, there's going to be lots of caches and
Mm.
catches and just like lots of different little, almost small print, really, like where it's like, okay, if you don't take the vaccine, you're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to jump through loops. So a lot of people are just gonna end up, I think, just going, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just
Mm.
gonna get the vaccine. I don't want the headache and I don't want the stress. If it's gonna block me from doing anything, I might as well I just want to be free. Do you know what I mean? And if that's the key to someone's freedom, then I think people are just gonna accept it and tolerate it and just jump and get the vaccine. That's just me personally. I don't
Yeah.
foresee the situation and the scenario. I can't imagine someone wants to go, let's say everything gets back to a decent level and you can travel anywhere, for example, but the rule is you need a vaccine. For people that like traveling, that's just going to be a no-brainer. I get a vaccine and I keep it moving. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then, let's say pubs or anything like that, someone likes to go out a lot. If you say to someone, you need a vaccine to be outside, kind of thing, and doing your thing, or be out, then young people are going to get it. Do you know what I mean? So I think either way, I think we're almost like being herded into this lane where vaccine, as much as people will say, "Oh, I'm not going to get a vaccine," when push comes to shove, a lot of people will get the vaccine, and a lot of people, and already statistically, a lot of people have already had the vaccine. I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I just think it's one of those things where we're going to see the real impacts of all of this maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line rather than now. Like, was it good? Was it bad? Was it whatever? But right now, history will kind of inform us more. So when we're old and grey, I think that's when we're really gonna see contextually what this whole situation was and was not, kind of thing. But I think right now it's just too early. So that's just me personally on my side. I was gonna ask you one question though before we wrap up, because you talk about COVID a lot, because obviously it's a thing. But forgetting COVID and things like that, what are you comfortable to travel? Do you want to travel, or what's your opinion on that? Like the traveling thing. As soon as it's open, are you thinking I'm gonna start traveling again, or are you gonna give it a little second before you start doing that?
You know what? I wasn't even big on traveling before, so even if it gets opened up again, I think I'll just be the same. I'll just travel if I need to, or if like the missus wants to go somewhere. Like, but yeah, I actually do look forward to it because it's like when something gets taken away from you, you want it more. Even though like back then I never used it anyway like that. So yeah. What about you?
I'm not gonna lie to you. As soon as it's a viable option, then yeah, I'll be there. You'll catch me catching a fresh air somewhere else. Yeah, I enjoy. The thing is, I enjoy traveling. I just almost, I can't say I regret because I've done my fair share of it, but like, or at least for me personally, I feel like I've done my fair share. But like, I definitely do feel like the problem is I planned to travel prior to all of this. So it was kind of like when it happened, I was like, well, I should have probably done it 2 years before, but I know that like I didn't have the time or capacity to do so. So it's not really, I don't have any regrets in that sense. But it's just more like even now, I'll be looking at myself like I do want to travel and I do want to sort of get out and about. Just because, like I always say to people, is like you don't want to be the person when traveling is sort of no longer an option just because of physical health. So you can't travel as much as you want, like now. So I always say to people is like, obviously you can't take this advice right now, but like travel when you can. Do you know what I mean? If you can do it, do some of it and get out of the way, and not even get out of the way, enjoy it. Like life is all about experiences for me, at least. So the more you experience, the better, and the more informed you are as a person versus just staying in your house and staying in your local area. That gets boring after a while as well. So you have to keep like refreshing life and making life exciting for yourself, man. Travel, see the world, enjoy yourself. Obviously, at the moment, it's a bit until, let's say, you're vaccinated or whatever it may be. Obviously, thing, and also you can't travel everywhere anyway because of the traffic light system they've got in place right now. It's like there's certain places that you you can't travel to anyway. So, well, you have to quarantine or whatever. So I'd say once the sort of world opens up a little bit more, yeah, definitely would be happy to travel more and get back on the road or on planes and stuff. But yeah, man, we'll see how it goes. But with that being said, this has been a good episode. I will catch you guys obviously later. And to the listeners, yeah, man, and viewers, please tell us what you think. And are you going to be outside? Or are you staying indoors?